Kenny Dalglish celebrates Liverpool's victory over Brutus in the 1978 European Cup final when he scored the winning goal. He also won the competition in 1981 and 1984. Liverpool and Scotland legend Kenny Dalglish has been knighted in the Queen's Birthday Honours list. The 67-year-old, who won the European Cup 3 times while playing for the Reds and later managed the club, said he was humbled but gratified. He was also recognized for supporting Hillsborough victims and his charity work with the Marina Dalglish appeal. "I thought it was a tax bill," Dalglish told BBC Radio Merseyside. "For the family, it's a huge honour." Archive: Kenny Dalglish on Liverpool, the club, the fans, the city, and Hillsborough. Dalglish, who started his career at Celtic, is Scotland's most capped player, having made 102 appearances for his country. He said, "It won't make any difference to me, I'll just maybe need to change my passport. But just because we're a wee bit embarrassed about it doesn't underestimate how pleased and proud we are to have received it. I hope everyone who came into our lives enjoys it as well." Dalglish is the only sporting figure knighted in the Queen's Birthday Honours list. World heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua and 2-time Olympic skeleton champion Lizzie Arnold are appointed OBEs, as is Bournemouth's former England striker Jermaine Defoe. From King Kenny to Sir Kenny, Dalglish attended many of the Hillsborough funerals, including that of Gary Church with Liverpool players Gary Ablett, John Aldridge and John Barnes. Born in the East End of Glasgow and the son of an engineer, Dalglish made his Celtic debut in 1968. He won 4 Scottish League titles and 4 Scottish Cups before joining Liverpool in 1977. In his first season at Anfield he scored the only goal in the 1978 European Cup final, and also lifted the trophy in 1981 and 1984. Dalglish won 6 league titles as a Liverpool player, scoring 172 goals in 515 appearances. He became player-manager in 1985, and was on the touchline for their ill-fated FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest at Hillsborough on April 15, 1989. 96 Liverpool fans died as a result of a crush in the away end of the ground. Dalglish helped support the bereaved families and made sure the club was represented at the funerals of 96 Albanian ex-victims, attending many himself. Having won 3 titles as Liverpool manager, he left in 1991. Leading Blackburn to the Premier League title 4 years later. He also managed Newcastle and Celtic, and had a second spell as Liverpool boss from 2011 to 2012. After his wife Marina recovered from breast cancer, they set up the Marina Dalglish Appeal in 2005, and the charity has raised more than £10 million. In 2011, relatives of the Hillsborough victims called for a man they call King Kenny to be knighted. Kenny was made an MBE in 1984, and Marina in 2009. Their wish has been granted. Bradley was my best friend. Media playback is not supported on this device. Bradley was my best friend. Defoe. Former Tottenham and West Ham striker Defoe, who has played 57 times for England, has been honoured for his work with the charitable foundation he established in 2013. The foundation supports homeless, vulnerable and abused children in St. Lucia, where his grandparents were born, and has expanded to work elsewhere in the Caribbean and in the UK. While playing for Sunderland between 2015 and 2017, the London-born 35-year-old befriended terminally ill fan Bradley Lowry, who died aged 6 in July 2017. Boxer Joshua is also made an OBE, 3 months after beating Joshua Parker to maintain his bid to unify the world heavyweight titles. The 28-year-old from Watford was made an MBE in the 2013 New Year Honours, after winning Olympic gold at London 2012. Arnold retained her Olympic skeleton title in Pyeongchang. Arnold too has now been made both an OBE and MBE. The 29-year-old from Kent became the first Briton to successfully defend a Winter Olympics title when she won gold at the Pyeongchang Games in February. Elsewhere, former world curling champion Mike Hay has been made an OBE. Team GB's chef de mission at both the 2014 and 2018 Winter Olympics. The Scot was made an MBE after coaching Britain's women's curling team to Olympic gold in 2002. Bill Sweeney, chief executive of the British Olympic Association, said, "Lizzie Arnold and Anthony Joshua are great examples of athletes that were able to fulfill not only their Olympic ambitions but give so much back to their communities and country." Former British athlete Diane Modal, 7-time Paralympic wheelchair basketball player Simon Munn and 3-time Olympic equestrian medalist William Falspade are among those made MBEs. Sir Craig Riddy, the Scottish president of the World Anti-Doping Agency who was knighted in 2005, has become a Knight Grand Cross. Media playback is not supported on this device. Fishlock delighted to be made MBE Queen's Birthday Honours List. Knighthood Kenny Dalglish MBE for services to football, charity and the City of Liverpool. Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the British Empire, GB, Sir Craig Reedy CB, World Anti-Doping Agency President, for services to sport. Officers of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, Sarah Clark, former All England Lawn Tennis Club Championships Director, for services to Sports Administration. Jermaine Defoe, footballer, for services to the Jermaine Defoe Foundation. Mike Hay MB, Great Britain and Northern Ireland 2018 Winter Olympic Games Chef Team Mission, for services to sport. Richard Lehman, for services to hockey. Anthony Joshua MB, boxer, for services to sport. Ian Ritchie, former Rugby Football Union Chief Executive, for services to Sports Administration. Lucinda Russell, racehorse trainer, for services to horse racing. Jeff Savory, for services to disability sport. Royson Wood, Kick It Out Chief Executive, for services to tackling discrimination and exclusion in football. Lizzie Arnold MB, skeleton double Olympic champion, for services to Winter Olympic sport. Members of the Order of the British Empire, MB, Sarah Booth, for services to women's football. Chris Brindley, Chair Greater Sport, for services to sport in Greater Manchester. Steve Elworthy, former England and Wales Cricket Board Director of Events, for services to cricket. Jess Fishlock, footballer, for services to women's football and the LGBT community. Minna Fitzpatrick, for services to Winter Paralympic sport. David Gourlay, Scotland Lawn Bowls head coach, for services to bowls. Aphrodite Catherine Hutchison, former Netball Scotland chair, for services to netball. Alex Jackson, for services to cross-country running in Scotland. Kirsty Letton, for services to curling. Jennifer Kehoe, for services to Winter Paralympic sport. Ewan McPherson, Royal Yachting Association Scotland chairman, for voluntary service to sailing. Colin McEachran, for services to target shooting and Commonwealth Games Scotland. Diane Modell, founder of Diane Modell Sports Foundation, for services to sport and to young people in Northwest England. Simon Munn, for services to wheelchair basketball. Di Morris, for services to rugby in Wales. Sue Redfern, for services to women's cricket in the UK and abroad. William Falkspit, for services to equestrian. Ronnie Sloan, Sports Aid Scotland chairman, for services to sport and charity. Gordon Robertson, for services to disability athletics.